poor people's accounts are just a cost. Close the account for this poor guy."
Amid the laughter of my classmates, Kevin loudly declared this so that everyone could hear. I never had good memories from school, and it seems impossible to get along and forget the past now that we're all adults. Kevin and his supporters still mock me just like they used to. All right, I'll close the account. With that, I left the reunion and headed straight to the major bank where he works to close the account. It's only a matter of time before Kevin's smirking face distorts in dismay. I allow myself a slight smile as I imagine this while leaving the bank. My name is Steve Tyler. I'm 56 years old. I have a son who is already an adult and has his own family, so now it's just my wife and me living modestly. I'm just an ordinary guy, but I'm also the president of a company I started myself. Initially, it was just a small business with about 5 people, but now it has grown to include many employees. I am a high school grad and what some might call undereducated, but I'm not embarrassed by it. I actually think it turned out for the best. However, one day, when I received an invitation to my middle school reunion, all those unpleasant memories came flooding back. Before I started middle school, my father passed away from illness, and since then, my mother raised my sister, who is 5 years younger than me, and me all by herself. It was a single-parent family. A term that's not uncommon today, but back then, single-parent families often received pity or even harassment from others. Like many, I became a target for a guy named Kevin Murphy and his cronies at the top of the school social hierarchy. I've been constantly told things like smells like poor people or poor people are contagious, making my middle school life miserable. Friends who were once close became distant, and gradually, no one would talk to me. And no wonder, siding with me meant they could be the next target. Friends who had been allies just seconds before could turn against you at any moment. Because we were kids, small issues could lead to significant disputes and disrupt a peaceful everyday life. Everyone abandoned me to better navigate their own lives. However, I never held a grudge against my classmates. If I were in their shoes, I probably would have done the same thing to defend myself. I hoped that changing grades might mean changing classes and improving my situation, but somehow, I ended up in the same class as Kevin for all 3 years. That's when I realized there's no such thing as God.
Fuck, I'm stuck in the same class as that poor guy Steve again. Give me a break.
Kevin was good-looking, athletic, and smart. No strong person dared to challenge him, and my 3 years were marked by dark, gloomy memories because of him. I had no particular talents nor anything I was passionate about doing. On the other hand, my sister loved studying and even wanted to take the entrance exams for private middle school. There was no point in me going to college, and if it would help my mom and sister, I decided to start working as soon as I graduated from high school. Mom told me it'd be better to go to college and not to worry about tuition, but I had no desire to go to school anymore. I was eager to start working. However, the reality is that most jobs available to someone with only a high school education involve physical labor. On my days off, I preferred staying indoors, watching movies or playing games, as I wasn't confident in my physical strength. Yet, one building maintenance company took a chance on me, and I got the job. The long-tenured colleagues warmly welcomed me, a stark contrast to Kevin and his followers. Initially, I did simple cleaning and patrols, but following a colleague's advice, I began acquiring the specialized knowledge and certifications necessary for building maintenance while working. This job, which I started somewhat randomly, turned out to be well suited for me, and I didn't find the specialized study difficult. While our work might not stand out, it's crucial because it allows the users of the building to work there with peace of mind. Supporting many people behind the scenes and sometimes being relied upon, I began to find this job fulfilling. One day off, I went to a bookstore to look for materials for a new certification study.
Is that poverty smell perhaps, Steve?
I heard that sneering voice suddenly from behind while I wandered through the store.
A long time no see, Kevin.
In his hand, he firmly held textbooks used by Harvard University students. If I had continued my education, I would have been the same age as a college junior.
And yet, Harvard University, no comparison to a high school grad like me.
I thought, feeling a bit sentimental.
You're working, right? Bet it's nothing impressive. I'm a student at Harvard University. It's sad how big the gap is between us, even though we were classmates.
Kevin said with a chuckle, dripping sarcasm before he walked away. Watching his retreating figure, I swore to myself that one day I'd prove him wrong. 10 years passed, and by the time I was 30, I had started my own company. Though I was interested in going independent, I couldn't quite take the first step until my girlfriend at the time encouraged me to do so. She later became my wife and continues to support me to this day. By the way, my sister managed to get a scholarship and enrolled in medical school. The year I started my business, she obtained her medical license. She decided to become a doctor to help others suffering from the same illness that took our father. She said it was all thanks to our mom and me, but it was her own hard work that got her through. She's now on her way to saving many lives and becoming a distinguished doctor. As for my company, having various certifications helped the business run smoothly, and I was able to secure enough work. While it's possible to work in this industry without certifications, having them definitely makes it easier. I encouraged my employees to get certified and considered it a necessary investment for the company, covering all the related costs. Initially, we were in the red and I put my wife through a lot, but she stood by me, and about 5 years into the business, we experienced rapid growth to the extent of being called a major company. Despite being an independent company in an industry dominated by major corporations, we could stand shoulder to shoulder with them, and I felt genuinely glad I had gone independent.
What's wrong? Staring at that envelope.
My wife brought me back to reality. Oh, it's an invitation to the middle school reunion. Just brought back a lot of memories. My wife didn't know about my middle school days since we met after I started working, although I had told her the gist of it. So, she looked solemnly at the envelope too. I had received several invitations to reunions before, but due to my busy work schedule, I always marked will not attend and sent them back. Even though I'm the president, I've always enjoyed field work and often worked alongside my employees. But now in my late 50s, I can't move as nimbly as before, and concerned for my well-being, my wife has made sure I now mostly stick to sales and paperwork. I could attend the reunion if I wanted to, but the past does make me hesitate a bit.
Everyone's an adult now, and if you're curious, maybe it's not a bad idea to go.
Indeed, we were just kids back then, but now we're all grown-ups. They probably wouldn't bother with petty harassment anymore, and part of me wanted to show Kevin and the others how much I've grown. I don't know where they are or what kind of work they're doing, They might even be more successful than me. But still, I wanted to make them regret mocking me back then and hear them apologize, even if just once. I might even brag a bit about my success despite being called a poor, bottom-tier dropout. It might be childish, but feeling this way, I marked will attend and sent the reply. Well, I'm off then. On the day of the reunion, dressed in a nice suit, I headed to the venue. A banquet hall in a certain hotel. Before entering, I took a deep breath to calm myself and walked up to the reception.
Steve, wow, it's been a long time. I didn't expect you to come.
The classmates I met after so long didn't hesitate to talk to me normally even though they recognized me. Some even apologized for their behavior back then. Deep inside, the murky memories of those days seemed to finally clear after decades. Despite some initial fears, thanks to my wife's encouragement, I was truly glad I came. Grateful to my wife, I engaged in lively conversations with my classmates when suddenly there was a stir near the entrance.
Hey everyone, long time no see. How have you all been?
With those words, Kevin captured everyone's attention. The moment I saw Kevin's face, my heart skipped a beat. His cronies from back in the day were there with him. Kevin had aged, but he looked distinguished, like a fine wine that had matured well. The buzz of the crowd gathering around him reminded me of the days when he was the popular kid in middle school, always surrounded by people. Gathering my courage, I started walking towards Kevin, about to speak to him when
Hey, isn't that Steve?
one of the cronies noticed me, and with that, Kevin turned to look my way.
Wow, really? You sure made quite a few appearances, the poor. Are you sure you can afford the reunion fee?
He mocked, and his cronies chuckled, though the others looked a bit uncomfortable. It's been a while. Don't worry, I can afford it just fine. Not liking my reply, he started insulting me as he used to.
Still pretending, huh? You must still be poor, right? Me? I graduated from Harvard and now I'm a manager at the renowned Cherry Bank. What a world apart we are, huh?
I was taken aback when I heard those words. Seeing my shocked face, Kevin's taunts grew worse. However, my shock wasn't due to his career achievements. Cherry Bank was actually a client of my company, where we kept our assets. Yes, I know Cherry Bank. We always appreciate your service. When I said that, Kevin began to misunderstand and started making strange accusations.
What service? You mean you're in debt? How pitiful.
He laughed, thinking I meant I was being helped because I was too poor. No, not like that. I mean we deposit our money there. As I mentioned holding an account, Kevin and his friends laughed even louder. The other classmates stood around, unsure of what to do.
Like it's any significant amount, right? Poor people's accounts are just a cost. Please close it. It's actually a hassle to have your account around.
Kevin loudly exclaimed, making sure everyone could hear. I had no fond memories from school, and it seemed impossible to get along and forget the past, even though we were all adults now. Kevin and his cronies still looked down on me just like they used to.
Kevin, we're all adults now? Let's stop this.
One classmate finally lost patience and spoke up. But Kevin wouldn't listen and urged me to leave. Fine, I get it. I'll close the account, I said, and left the reunion to go to Cherry Bank as he had suggested. The bank employee tried desperately to stop me, but when I mentioned it was Kevin who suggested the closure, The name of their manager stopped him, and he silently proceeded with the process. I imagined Kevin's smirking face would soon distort like the bank employee who was handling my request. Smiling a little, I left the bank. The next day, a call came through on my mobile. It was a Saturday, a day off. Despite that, the caller ID showed it was from Daniel Chavez, the president of Cherry Bank. I immediately picked up the phone, suspecting it was about the bank account. "Thank you for calling, Daniel."
Steve, I heard about the account cancellation from an employee. Did Kevin do something disrespectful?
I've been indebted to Daniel since the start of my business, and I requested a meeting in person rather than discussing over the phone. So we set up a time to meet at the bank during business hours on Monday. On Monday, I went to Cherry Bank and waited in the reception room for Daniel.
Sorry to keep you waiting, and thank you for coming all this way.
While sipping coffee prepared by the secretary, I briefly shared the incident from that day and a bit about my past with Kevin. I honestly don't care about the past anymore. We were just kids back then, but the recent event is a different matter. Kevin seems to take his job seriously, well regarded by customers and beloved by his subordinates, so it seemed hard for him to digest my story. However, it didn't seem entirely unbelievable to him, and he seemed at a loss about what to do. "Is Kevin at work today? If he's available, maybe you could call him here." I understand the president's desire to trust his employee, and he can't outright dismiss my side of the story as a customer. Thinking that just the two of us talking wouldn't lead to a resolution, I suggested bringing Kevin into the discussion. Daniel nodded and promptly instructed his secretary to call Kevin. Fortunately, he was in his office today and appeared soon after.
Excuse me, you called for me, Daniel. Wait, why are you here?
Kevin was taken aback upon seeing me and covered his mouth as if he'd slipped up.
Well, we were discussing the account cancellation you suggested. Is that true?
For a moment, Kevin's face contorted, but he quickly reverted to his usual expression.
Yes, there's no mistake. It's unnecessary, right? His account is insignificant. More of a nuisance, right?
Surprisingly, Kevin admitted to his remarks. At his words, Daniel sighed heavily. "I can't believe you would say such things."
I'm so sorry. I can't believe Kevin would say that. Please, could you reconsider the cancellation?
Daniel implored, forcibly urging Kevin to apologize while also offering an apology. However, Kevin shrugged off Daniel's hand.
Daniel, what are you doing? There's no need to apologize to someone like him.
Even witnessing the sight of his own bank's president apologizing, Kevin, oblivious to any wrongdoing on his part, was laughing uproariously, convinced there was no need for him to apologize to me. Daniel's face grew paler as Kevin's attitude persisted. Indeed, Kevin thought I wasn't depositing much, but in reality, my company had deposited $49 million with Cherry Bank.
Just apologize. Don't you know who this man is? As a manager, you should know.
Indeed, it's shocking that a manager wouldn't recognize the name of a major client. Maybe he couldn't imagine it because of his preconceptions about me. "Kevin, I'm the president of Tyler Building Solutions. Ever heard of it?"
Huh. You're the president of that company. Must be someone else with the same name, right? Are you being fooled, Daniel? This guy is just a poor, uneducated nobody.
Kevin scoffed, clearly thinking it was just a coincidence of names. Despite seeing Daniel's serious demeanor, Kevin still had the audacity to deny the truth.
How could that be a lie? Steve is a client with an account of $49 million at our bank. Do you understand what canceling that means?
Finally grasping the situation, Kevin muttered incredulously, "A lie, right?" and held his head. As much as I regret this, given the circumstances, we'll proceed with the cancellation as Kevin suggested, right? Please don't, Daniel pleaded, dropping to his knees, but Kevin, the cause of all this, just stood there, dumbfounded. But brought back to his senses by Daniel's call, "Hey, Kevin." Kevin too began to apologize deeply to me.
Unbelievable. You were the president of Tyler Building Solutions. Why didn't you say anything? We're friends, right?
Friends, don't make me laugh. Maybe we could have been if you had acknowledged your past mistakes at the reunion. Indeed, on that day, despite wanting to boast about my success, I genuinely hoped we could overcome the past and become true friends. While things didn't work out with Kevin, I have reconnected with other classmates. No matter how much you apologize, it's futile. This is the bank's policy, right? Judging people by their appearance or education. I said this while looking towards Kevin. Although he was apologizing, his eyes looked up at me, filled more with anger than apology. It must be quite humiliating for him to apologize to me after all the mockery he has subjected me to. He was boasting about being a department head at a major bank, while I, a poor high school graduate from the bottom rings, went on to start a business and achieve great success. Although it wasn't how I envisioned it, making Kevin regret his actions did clear my heart. I discreetly handed Daniel a note. It contained the name and account details of another bank.
This is, please reconsider. I will deal firmly with Kevin.
I shook my head. Please transfer the money to the bank listed there. It's a small regional bank, but they don't have disrespectful staff like Kevin, and they've always treated us very well. We'll be doing business with them from now on. A dejected Daniel and a resentful Kevin watched as I left the reception room. Afterwards, during the final procedures at Cherry Bank, I was informed by the clerk that Daniel, apparently, turned red in the face and yelled at Kevin after I left the reception room. Kevin hadn't realized the significance of a $49 million account cancellation.
This could bankrupt us.
When Daniel muttered so, Kevin apparently chuckled, saying that there was no way the bank would go under. It seems Kevin based his decision to work at the bank on the belief that it was the most secure and stable workplace, as he had never heard of the bank going under. While it's rare to hear of banks failing, it has happened in the world. And no one can guarantee it won't happen in the US. No one could have predicted my success. Even I am amazed by it. Life is unpredictable. That is why one must be accountable for their actions. What goes around, comes around, they say, and it seems apt. Since then, Cherry Bank, while not bankrupt, has been declining and is set to merge with another bank soon. As for Kevin, he has been fired and I recently saw him working at a local corner store. Kevin received instructions from his much younger supervisor and worked with a face that seemed to be chewing on a bitter pill. He was always capable and on a fast track to elite status, climbing all the way up to the head at a major bank, only to end up in a serious downward spiral in life. Meanwhile, I, once scorned as poor and uneducated, am now the president of a well-regarded company. I'm glad I never gave up. As for my future, I've moved my assets to another bank. My company is thriving without issues, still dedicated to building maintenance every day. I don't want to be like Kevin, judging people by their appearance or education. You can grow at any moment if you decide to be human. Like the president of my previous company, who gave me a chance despite my lack of education, I also actively hired those eager to work, regardless of their educational background. And to my wife, who has supported me through all this without a single complaint, I am endlessly grateful. I've left almost all family and household responsibilities to her due to my focus on work. It might seem too late, but I want to repay her not just through work but also personally, so we've planned a vacation together soon.
When was the last time we just relaxed together, Hud?
She chuckled, gathering travel brochures and smiling happily. Looking at her, I truly felt fortunate to be married to her.